Phones aren't as small as they used to be, but the Google Pixel 6a is about as compact an Android phone as you can get these days. This is one of the best things about it, along with its excellent performance, camera, and its affordable price. The Pixel 6a is Google's cheaper version of its October 2021 Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro phones. The 6a keeps calm of those devices' more expensive features but teaches others to drive the price right down to a very palatable $450. A few corners have been cut, and there are other mid-range phones out there that offer higher specs, but having used the Pixel 6a daily as my main phone, I think it's one of the best phones you can buy for the money, and the Pixel most people should buy instead of Pixel 6 or Pixel 6 Pro. If you don't like the look of the original Pixel 6, then you are out of luck with the 6a, which looks like someone clicked and dragged the top corner of it down in Photoshop and shrunk the whole thing a little. If it's the smallest phone available that you want, the 6a isn't it. At 152.2mm, it's taller than the 138.4mm iPhone SE 2022 and the 131.5mm iPhone 13 mini. The 6a is still a large phone, it's just not as large as most other slab smartphones out there, especially the gigantic Pixel 6 Pro. Its angular and boxy design still feels good to hold thanks to rounded aluminum edges, but I still can't reach the top of the screen with a thumb when using one-handed. The screen is flat rather than curved-edged, and my black review unit is largely remarkable save for the camera bar design on the back, just like the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro. It protrudes much less than its bigger brothers, which is a relief. The difference on the 6a is the two camera sensors are housed in a small pill-shaped blob on the left of the black bar that's camouflaged by also being black with a circular flash on the right. On the other hand, Pixel 6 models, the lenses are spread out across the length of the bar. You can pick from three colors options that have two-tone designs with a small stripe above the camera, a different color to the larger section below. I reviewed the charcoal color, which is dark gray on the bottom and lighter gray on the top. A big downside to the 6a is the durability of the rear panel, which is made of a composite plastic rather than durable glass. My charcoal unit picked up an enormous number of scratches after less than a week. 2 weeks in and the thing looked more battered than phones I have had for over a year, and I am especially careful with my phones. I imagine the green, Google calls it sage, color will also show scratches, but maybe the white would hide them better. The white would also better hide fingerprints and smears, which the charcoal does not. I wasn't sent a case initially, so I used the phone without one in my house holiday abroad. Google says there's Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on the display and this got no scratches, but the back looks a bit of a mess. It's also very hard to photograph this to show you. The phone scratching easily a minor niggle with what is otherwise a very well built phone that feels more premium than it costs and packs in IP67 dust and water resistance. I then used Google's official case for a while, and while I like the feel of the surprisingly sturdy plastic design, it remains to be seen if it eventually discolors like the cases for the 6 and 6 Pro reportedly have. The screen is a 6.1-inch AMOLED, putting this phone in the small phone champ, not actually small like phones used to be, but more compact than most modern Android slabs. That screen unfortunately only has a 60 Hz refresh rate. Other phones at this price have higher refresh rate that make content scroll smoother, such as €399 Nothing Phone 1 with 120 Hz and €370 OnePlus Nord 2T with 90 Hz display. Google could surely have stretched to this, but probably wants to upsell buyers after such a feature to its 90 Hz toting Pixel 6. Thankfully, the display of the 6A is excellent with very good brightness, with things only hard to see in the hardest direct sunlight. I missed a higher refresh rate at first, but I soon forgot that it was a 60 Hz screen. It's very good panel with excellent color reproduction and sharpness that's miles better than the 720p display on the $430 iPhone SE 2022. There's a black bezel all the way around the flat panel with a touch more to the chin than the top of the phone and a selfie cutout camera in the center at the top of the screen. The stereo speakers can play audio at a decent clarity and volume and are very good enough for podcasts in the kitchen or making video calls. Where the Pixel 6a shine is in performance. That's because Google decided to cram its Tensor processor into it, the same chip used in the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro. Paired with 6GB of RAM, the Pixel 6a absolutely flies through everything and is a mid-range phone with genuine flagship performance. It's the first time Google has opted to put the chip from its main phones into its A series model the same generation, and it's worth the trade-off in other places such as the 60 Hz screen. There's only one model available with 6GB of RAM and 128GB storage. This is plenty enough for my uses, but there's no microSD slot for expandable storage should you ever fill it up. As with every other Pixel, there is also only a single SIM phone, which is a downside. So many Android phones have dual SIM slots, and so should Pixels. That said, there is an option to add a second line as an eSIM, which is halfway there if you do not want to need two numbers. We usually run benchmark tests on all phones we review at our Tech Doctor using apps such as Geekbench 5, but the Google Pixel 6a unit I received would not download them. In the Play Store they showed as not compatible. Google told me it had blocked benchmarking apps on the review units ahead of the launch to avoid benchmark and device spec leaks. A spokesperson said I was free to sideload the apps instead, which I did for Geekbench 5 and GFX Bench, which measures CPU and general performance respectively. The below chart shows how the Pixel 6a stacks up against phones of a similar price. A lovely upgrade from the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro is the in-screen fingerprint sensor, which I have found be far more responsive. It works very time without fail, and I didn't have to retain it without my thumbprint at all. The Pixel 6a has excellent battery life but charges quite slowly at a maximum of 18 watt. I say maximum because there's no charger in the box, only a USB-C to C cable, so you will have to buy a charging brick with a USB-C output or use another charger. The Pixel 6 and 6 Pro also ship without chargers but have a maximum speed of 30 watt from empty. The 6a charges to 22% in 15 minutes, 42% in 30 minutes and 100% in 1 hour and 50 minutes. The OnePlus Nord 2T is cheaper than the Pixel 6a but comes with an 80 watt charger in the box that charges to 100% in 30 minutes, which makes Google look stingy on both included accessories and speed. I used the 6a with various chargers and found it consistently charges quite hot. I didn't know if this is because some of the chargers could output more than 18 watt, but when a phone ships without a charger and with no instruction in the box or in the phone's software about what kind of cable or brick to use. This is the experience most people will get when they grab the nearest charger. A phone shouldn't be this hot when charging. Over time, such heat could lead to battery degradation, but this is impossible to tell right now. At the moment, the Pixel 6a has solid all-day battery life. Even roaming abroad on 4G all day while taking tons of photos never saw me dip below 20%. While Google gave the Pixel 6a the Tensor chip from its premium phones, the same cannot be said of the camera. In fact, it's the first time an A-series Pixel is not getting the same main sensor as the corresponding regular Pixels, and that is a shame. The 50 megapixel sensor on the Pixel 6 is outstanding. Instead, the Pixel 6a has a 12.2 megapixel aperture 1.7 Sony IMX363 sensor with optical image stabilization. This is the same sensor Google used from the Pixel 3 to Pixel 5 era. I personally would have rather had the newer 50 megapixel lens and lower powered processor, but Google has changed its approach. The good news is the main camera on the Pixel 6a is still phenomenally good. It just isn't quite as good as the Pixel 6 or 6 Pro in the detail it can capture, but Google's post-processing in software is so good that differences are barely noticeable. In even more good news, the ultra-wide 12 megapixel aperture 2.2 Sony IMX386 lens is the same one used in the pricier 6 models. As expected, still photos are top drawer and easily compete with phones the 3 or 4 times the price. I compared several similar shots I took on holiday with those taken on my wife's iPhone 13, and I consistently preferred the daylight shots of the Pixel. They sport the contrasty processing. Pixels are known for, where the iPhone has leaned more recently into natural shades, sometimes to effort. In low light, the iPhone was much better than the Pixel, better at handling difficult sunset scenes and rendering detail better. The Pixel's night sight for pitch black photos is still good, but it's a few generations behind the iPhones now, particularly on the 6a with the older main sensor. But the iPhone 13 costs a lot more than the Pixel 6a. I would happily use the 6a as my only camera on a day-to-day basis. It's that good. Add to that the very capable ultra-wide that doesn't fisheye scenes like cheaper phones do, and it's very capable setup for a mid-range smartphone. There's no zoom lens, so you have to rely on digital zoom from the main sensor, but that's standard for mid-range phones. Google's Super Res Zoom features can zoom in up to 7x, but results are quite blotchy and grainy on inspection, as well all digital zoom tends to be. But the 2x zoom is solid and passable for social media shots. The 8 megapixel selfie camera has a decent 84-degree field of view and takes solid selfies. Through the portrait mode struggles to pick up strands of hair and doesn't seem to be as consistent with results as it from the main rear camera. Aside from basic still photo shooting, the 6a also has very single camera software feature from the Pixel 6 except for the long exposure motion mode. Magic Eraser can cleverly erase people or things from photos, even if it does require a little patience, as sometimes it gets it wrong. It's best to have a plain background or the smarts get confused and blur the wrong colors together, but it's still impressive on the whole. A new feature is camouflage, which rather than deleting things from images instead changes their color to better blend into a scene. Big orange bleach ball distracting from smiling faces on the beach. Turn it in the color of sand. It's slightly a weird feature, but it does work well. Built-in too are very good features like face doubler, which does exactly what it says very well. The camera works by taking several shots either side of when you actually tap the shutter button. If your subject moves their head a little resulting in blur, the phone can tell this and automatically uses all the image data to correct it. This is also part of the feature Top Shot, which records a short video to go along with your image if the phone reckons it's worth it. Autoplaying of which can be toggled off in the Photos app when looking through photos. Real tone is also a very good feature that better reproduces skin tones accurately thanks to Google's work to tune its processing algorithms. Other phones overprocess some skin tones inaccurately, so the Pixel is a good choice in this regard. Throw in 4K video recording at 60 fps and its well-featured camera app. There's even a speech enhancement mode that isolates vocal audio and cuts out background noise, though only works on the selfie camera, so it's handy feature if you are recording a video message for someone at the side of a motorway or something. Google offers 5 years of security updates for the phone, so its final update will land in July 2027 in theory. There's only 3 years of Android platform updates though, so the 6A will only get those until July 2025, likely Android 15, as the 6A is launching with Android 12, not Android 13. You will get a new versions of Android before third-party manufacturers through. Android 12 is a joy to use. It looks great and performs just as well as Pixel 6 Pro. No mean feature. The included new nature swept wallpapers are right up my street, and the color picker that takes 4 colors from whatever wallpaper, so you have to let you select it as the icon and accent color for the whole OS is superb. It's rolling out to more Google apps like Gmail too, so there's real unity to the whole aesthetic. I prefer running the phone in dark mode. The always on display is my favorite of any phone, with simplicity the best thing about it. It shows time, date and weather and full notification banners if you so choose to. There's also the excellent Now Playing feature that cleverly listens to whatever music is playing and displays the track and artist, all from an offline database stored on the phone. You can tap the song and start streaming it from several streaming services, not just Google's own YouTube Music. Google's voice to text smarts and the live transcribe feature in its recorder app are present and excellent in an area Google trumps Apple, which is playing catch up with its dictation feature in iOS 16.